If I had to start the business completely over, this is how I would set up a business inside Trello. My name is Riley. I'm a KSA project manager. And in today's video, I'm going to walk you through if you were setting up your Trello from scratch, all the boards and sections that I think you would need to make your business organized and successful inside Trello. So before we dive in, one thing that I would say is I would actually not recommend setting up your Trello board completely from scratch. There are tons of templates that I think would give you a great head start. That way, you're not just staring at a blank screen. We actually have a whole bundle of Trello templates that you can use that will walk you through how to set up your weekly boards, your marketing boards, launching content, all of those things, and training videos on that. So, if you want more information on those, make sure you look at the links in the description to grab those templates. So, in this video, I'm going to talk about this as if I am setting up something completely from scratch. So, what I would do inside my Trello is I'm going to come here and create a new board. One thing that I always recommend is make sure you have a good naming system. This way, from the very beginning, everything is super clear. So, for example, at the KS agency, we'll label everything KSA and then what it is. So, I would say like Riley's board. For the sake of this video, I'm just going to say example, and then I'm going to set up my personal board. I also would recommend inside your business setting up a personal board for you that has all of your personal to-dos, everything that you are currently working on to keep everything in one place and super organized for you. I would also recommend setting up a marketing or content board. That way, at a glance, you can see what emails are going out that week, Instagram schedules, YouTube posts, whatever you use in your content. I would have a content or slash marketing board. I would also have a specific project board. For example, if you're getting ready to launch a new tiny offer funnel that has upsells, downsells, a bunch of funnel things inside it, I would have a board specifically around that. Or if you're live launching, doing a webinar, that way all of the things that have to do with that live launch live inside that project specific board so that your board doesn't turn into a big mess. You have everything labeled. So, for example, I would say KSA marketing board right here, or KSA January 2028 live launch is what I would say. So, I'm going to go ahead and create an example of a my week board. So, I'm going to create this. Again, this is going to be my personal board. Fun picture that I came up with. You can also come here and you can change the background of this if you want to make it a little bit more personal to you. So those are just there's some basic things that you can do on the side here to make it a little bit more custom to you. For this video, I'm just going to talk about the sections that I would have on my personal board. Every single board, I want a quick grabs list. This quick grabs is going to be a list of things that I want to grab at a glance. That way I'm not searching through my Google Drive. It might have a link to all of my pricing that I have for my business. That way it's super easy for me to go and grab my pricing and have it right here. So I might link the Google Doc right here, throw it on here, and then the Google Doc will populate right there. I might have a list of all of my logins right here. So that way I can go in and see my like Google login. I'll put my username, and then I'll also put my password, and then have that. And then I will do the same thing for my Facebook. So I might have all of my logins right here as just a super quick grab. I also might have my branding info here. So I might have the hex codes, the fonts. Maybe it's my favorite headshot of myself. That way it's super easy for me to come and grab it and send it off if people need it. So again, all of my quick grabs are right there. Then I might break this up based on a couple of things for my to-dos. Let's say I will have my Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday list. So I have all of those things right here all the way through the end of the week. That way I have a to-do list for every single day. Some people just want one long to-do list. For me, it's a little bit overwhelming. So I'll break it up like this. That way I can see everything. There might also be things that you do reoccurring. For example, every single Monday, you might go in and film your next YouTube video. So what I would do is I would set up a reoccurring card. So let's just say I have a one-off task that I have on my list. Then I have some reoccurring tasks underneath. So I'll do film, YouTube, video. Every single Monday, I do this. So I would go in, for the due date, I'm going to select whatever the Monday is. I'm going to select it as a reoccurring. So I want to do that it reoccurs weekly on Mondays and set that up. That way, every single Monday, once I'm done with it, I'll check it off my list and it repopulates it for the next Monday. Super easy. You don't have to re-put it on your list every single week. Then I might have a projects, or actually, I'm going to call it a parking lot item. That means I have a lot of ideas and I really want to make sure that I remember them, but they might not be things that are super priority. So if you're a visionary, this probably happens to you a lot. So you have a parking lot list. That way, if in the middle of the night you have this idea for your brand that comes in, again, it might not be super priority right now, but you can park it in your parking lot. So I'm going to put my idea here. And so that is my newest idea that I'm going to keep right here in my parking lot items. That way, it's not taking up space in your brain anymore. It's parked right there, and you can circle back to it when it's time. So I have all of those things. Then I might have some workflow videos here, for example. An example of this would be if I want to, if there's something that I do all the time that might not be something that's necessarily reoccurring every week, but it's something that I do regularly enough that I want to have a card specifically for that. That way, when it's time, I just come over, duplicate the card right here, and then reset it. That way it's a templated card. I would set up some of my card templates right here for that. Super easy. So this is a very basic my week board. Again, it just helps me keep everything in one space. It's really easily organized. Now, the other board that I would set up is, like I mentioned before, is a content or marketing board. So let me go ahead. I'm just going to, for the sake of this video, I'm just going to delete this card off of here. So I'm just going to shut all these. That way we'll just pretend like these are not here. So I would still recommend having a quick grabs here for your marketing board. Your quick grabs might actually link back to a different board that you have, but for your marketing, you might want to actually keep your marketing schedule here. So let's say on Monday, and I'll move my little thing down so it's a little easier to see. Let's say every Monday, I have a YouTube release. And then every Wednesday, I have a podcast release. And then Friday, I have my weekly newsletter. So at a glance, I can see everything that I have that week that's just reoccurring. This, again, it's just a quick grab. It helps me be able to see the schedule. That way, I don't need to be like constantly going back to my calendar and reminding myself. It's just an at a glance for me to see that. Then let's say that I'm going to start setting all of this up. So I'm going to go ahead and say April, May, June. From here, what I would do is I'm going to say April 1 newsletter. From there, I'm going to have a little checklist item for me. So I'm going to say draft, copy, build email, add in link, or let's say there's a screenshot you add in every week. So this is my little to-do list that I do every single newsletter. I have this in. So again, this might be a little like template that you create. So that way it's faster to do every week. And so then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add my little date for, let's say it's April 1st. I have that in there. Then I'm going to copy that card. We're going to go April 7th. Now I have this one. I'm going to set this up for April 7th. And then I'm going to have this one, edit that date, go back to April 1st. And then let's say I'm going to have like one more newsletter that goes out. Okay. So now I have all of my little newsletters that are going out and I can see all of those at a glance there. Then let's say on April 21st, I have a podcast episode that releases. So again, I might have a little checklist under here of recording my podcast episode in Riverside, transcribing the episode, pulling podcast clips out for YouTube or for Instagram, adding the copy in. So there's lots of things that I can do right inside that card, again, to make it a quick checklist workflow. So I'm going to add my little date right inside here. So let's say that's going to release that day too. So then what I would also do, just in my own personal preference, I would probably put like a little emoji in front of each one, like a little like letter emoji for me to know it's a newsletter, a little podcast microphone for me to at a glance see it's a podcast. Again, this is just a overall look at what's going on each week. I would have the same thing set up for May and June. Then, if you have the version of Trello where you can see it on a calendar view, I'm going to swap it. And now I can see April 1st, April 7th, April 14th, and all of these things, again, that I had all set up. And again, that's a task I need to do that day because I put a due date on it. So anything I put a due date on populates the task in my calendar view, which is super nice. So I'm going to go back to my board view and I can see all of these things. So what I would do each week or each month or each quarter, whatever makes the most sense, is just go in and populate everything that's going on. So I'd put all my May things in here, my June things, so that I can see everything that's going on, all of the emails that are going out, all the podcast episodes, all of the newsletters, anything that you have. That way, at a glance, I can see everything. I would also do this exact same thing for my project boards. So let's say we're going to pretend this is completely blank. I'm going to go ahead and take all of these away, just that way you can see a blank board. Now we're going to talk about if I had a specific project board. So again, quick grabs might be the release date of the launch. So where I'm going to put my launch dates in here. Then I might want to put all my links in here. So I might come in here and have my sales page link right here, my checkout page link. I might have a bonus that I want inside here. So I have all the links that I have for a specific launch inside this little list right here. Again, it's a quick grab. Let's say that I wrote all of my emails on a Google Doc and I want to link the Google Doc right inside here. I would just pop the Google Doc link right here. And then that way I can open the Google Doc really easily to see all the emails for the launch. So again, the quick grabs, I always recommend having this on your board. Then let's say I would set this up to where, let's say for this launch, I'm having a webinar. So I would have a little webinar section right here. And then let's say it's going to be doing the course launch. And let's say we'll do some post-launch to-dos. So I can really quickly see in my sections right here, the main things that are going on inside my launch. So let's say I need to do my registration page. I need a confirmation page. I need to do my webinar promo emails, attendee emails, and then I might need to set up my Instagram graphics. So I have my little webinar list right here. Then I might also, let's say you also want to label some things. So, for example, we might have all of this set up, but let's say you want to label this like you have marketing, like a little marketing section. I'm just going to set this up with a little cover so I can see all of my marketing things that I need to set up. But let's say I actually need to come up with the webinar material. So I'm going to come up with the actual like build of everything. So I'm going to do my webinar slides, outline, bonus PDF. So this is where I'm actually going to have a little to-do list for myself where I need to actually come up with what I'm going to be teaching in my webinar. And this is how I'm going to be marketing my webinar. So these are my webinar to-dos. Then for my course, I might have my sales page here. Then I'll have my confirmation page, checkout, sales emails, and then I need to actually schedule my emails. So again, I have all of these things. Let's say you're building the course from scratch and we need to actually come up with the build again. So we need to record course, So lots of things that I would put on here. But as you can see, there's a lot of things that you have to do inside a course launch. And so if it feels overwhelming to even come up with what all I need to have on my list, that's again another reason why I highly, highly recommend using a template to set up. We have course launch templates, marketing email templates, all of those things that we sell in our shop. So be sure to check out the links below to get all of those. So again, that's how I would set everything up like this. That way I can really easily see everything. In my post launch, I would have my trackers, all of those things set up right here. So again, if I was setting up my board completely from scratch inside Trello, I would make sure I had my week board. That way everything is organized that I need to do that week. I would also have any project specific boards that I have coming up, like this launch. And then I would also have a regular marketing board. So at a glance, I can see and plan out my marketing calendar for that month or that quarter. If you have any questions or you would like somebody to dive into your business and help you set up these things for you, send us an email at hello@catchmoyer.com and we would love to be able to dive in. We'll see you in the next video.